Hello, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Notoriety. Each week, we bring you all the things that are happening in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, and beyond. Everything I want to mark on the calendar, what's not to be missed. And of course, we know that this broadcast through the wonderful world of advantageous streaming goes much farther than just our Northwest Indiana region. We couldn't be without the generous underwriting and sponsorship these last 8 years for our weekly arts program. Without the folks from People's Bank, Legacy Foundation has been so supportive, and of course, Indiana Arts Commission as well over this near decade. I'm joined today with some co-hosting duties by Tony Panic.
How's it going, everybody?
Thank you, Tony, for being back again. And of course, this broadcast is the equivalent of all the columns and stories you'll read in my flagship Post Tribune. That's under Chicago Tribune Media, my columns. Everything's also captured at chicagotribune.com. And today's topic and our guest who's zooming in from the south, from the wonderful Warrenville, Florida, will be the feature of the upcoming column that I have for this coming Thursday. We want to make sure, since our shows are rebroadcast and streamed, as you well know, through social media, we're coming to you live and capturing this interview on Monday, August the 25th, 2025. Without further delay, our guest who's joining us, we want to welcome is Kristen Estes. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
There
nice to
she
see
is.
you. Good morning.
And such a familiar face and voice for all of Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland because of the broadcast personality associated with her for years with PBS, right here with Channel 56. And her talents expand far beyond that, including the great stage where she's taking ovations and bows from her audiences. And the run that's happening isn't here, but, it could make its way up this way. We're going to talk more about it. It's happening in one of the wonderful spaces that is just kind of an oasis for arts and culture in Florida. And we're going to hear more about it, as well as her own play, The Swing Set. And The Swing Set, Tony, has an asterisk, I think, next to it because it can be a little push the envelope. So we're going to find out about that as well. Once again, good morning, and tell us all about what the excitement is for this week and when the curtains go up.
So I've been very fortunate to be a part of the production of The Swing Set, also because I wrote it, so kind of by default, I'm part of the production. But we were really fortunate. So I'm in Southwest Florida right now, and I kind of split my time between the region, Chicago area and here. And I had written a play, and there's a local theater here that seemed like absolutely the perfect venue. It's called the Arts Center Theater, and where I am actually, Marco Island, this theater is run by the Marco Center for the Arts. And I had approached them with this script a couple of years ago, like 2022, and they liked it very kindly, said, okay, let's do read-through workshop. We did that. The feedback was incredible. So we mounted a production in conjunction with the Arts Center Theater last year and got rave reviews. And this year, the Arts Center is doing what they're calling their Encore series and bringing back a few of their more successful shows. And so we are really blessed and pleased to be bringing the Swing Set back for performances this week, the 28th and 29th on beautiful Marco Island. So I'm really excited.
That website as well, and we'll get our producer to put the poster up and then float some of those production photos. The website, so people can find out more information, please.
Yeah. So go to the Marco Island Center for the Arts, and then they have a tab for the Arts Center Theater, and you can find all they have a lot of great shows there. They do a lot of plays, Neil Simon, some comedy and things like that. You'll see the Swing Set.
With a pineapple on it, Phil.
Yes, yeah. One of the things I do with this weekly broadcast,
what does that mean there? Yeah,
is I usually always bring some props, and I don't know if the producers kind of roll their eyes when I come in here with some plans, Kristen, for the desk, and I do that for a particular reason these past 8 years, so that when folks are streaming it and they see the visual, I don't want it to just always look like the same talking head. So if it looks like there's some different, foliage or props on the desk, they know, wait, what's going on there? I want to investigate. And so when Tony Panic arrived, he said, why didn't you bring pineapples? Remember that great illustration of the poster's got that lone pineapple on the Swing Set. And I said, why did I not think of that? I should have. Now,
I thought you were going for a tropical vibe.
That's what I am going
too,
for.
yeah.
You're exactly right. So there you go, Tony. She's on my side with this.
Yeah.
Now, we probably can't describe much more about the pineapple because it's probably hidden Easter egg, and the show itself is going to unfold what the connection is, or no, that's a fun fact that can be shared.
I'll tell you this much. So it's a two-character show. It revolves around Jake and Abby. I am actually in the show right now, which, hopefully I won't be doing it forever, but I have a very talented actor, friend from Detroit who is in the show with me, Mr. Brett Buckalter. And it's about these two characters who kind of retired and they're down in this new area. And the husband starts to worry that the wife has very, very different ideas about retirement than he it's just a little bit naughty. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
but it's just a little bit naughty. It's fun.
Well, and we've kind of talked and hinted about this, and this is a good chance for our producer to float some of those stage promotional photos of you with your counterpart on stage. The other identity that I wear besides journalist these days is as a marketing director for my home away from home, the Center for Visual and Performing Arts, right on Ridge Road there in Munster. And Channeling Panic is the production manager. And since you've got kind of split addresses, it might be something that would be fun, up here for a week's run. It looks like it doesn't need too much of an involved set, that it's more about the personalities, and you can just do some furniture and some things to create that.
Right.
I'm just trying to plant a seed with you. If your counterpart also is from Detroit, which is not too far from up here, to come up and stay for a week, so something to think about.
No, we'd love to actually take it to the region or the Chicago area. It's a two-person show. It's an intimate show. We'd be looking for a more intimate theater venue. Center for the Arts, of course, there on Ridge is such a beautiful facility, and we'd love to go in there. Toll Theater in Hammond, another really great facility. Something like that, a smaller venue in Chicago. But it's a fun show. It's a lighthearted comedy, and some of the comments that we get not only are, oh, hey, I didn't really understand the significance of the pineapple, or, I learned so much, or because of the way the plot unfolds, I didn't really know what was happening. So I was kind of on the edge of my seat all the way through. And
Wow.
It's great to hear that. As a writer, you try to set the stage, you try to drop little breadcrumbs and see, will the audience go on this journey with you? Will they get there? And I'm happy to say that so far they have, and seem genuinely appreciative. There's nothing better than having an audience laugh when you expect a laugh, and sometimes even when you don't. But it's very gratifying.
And there's media star power with you just being attached to it as well, and you're very humble. But we know that for years, you were the anchor in the face with PBS, and this is a good chance for our producer to flash that photo from a decade ago with her cameraman, somebody who looks very familiar.
12 years
we'll
ago.
see
I
if
think,
she
at
can
this
see
point.
this photo here that was slipped off of Facebook here. And I didn't even do a double take when I thought I'm going to put some photos from the PBS Channel 56
Look at
days.
that.
Can you see it there?
I can't see it.
Oh, let's make sure we share it in a way that she can
I
also see it.
believe you. Yeah, great time over there with Tony and a lot of the other people over at Lakeshore. I had a great time there. Not just did I host the news, but I hosted Jump in the Lake, and for a little while, Friends and Family. And those were programs specifically to spotlight really wonderful things in the region. And I was just thrilled to be even a small part of that. Oh my gosh! Hi!
Yeah, look at that. Look at that hair.
That would be.
You know what's interesting? That was at Paul Henry's Art Gallery. Tony Santucci, of course, there as well.
I think that's where it is. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
and I was with you on that one, and then the Lansing Car Show, and then when I was there, the news was the 10 o'clock news was kind of winding down.
Right.
That was like
Well, we were going from 2 newscasts a
Yeah.
day to the one. Then it was like we were just doing the feature shows, and they were fabulous.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So
they
you're
were
there.
a lot of
You're kind of framed with two Tonys in that photo,
yeah,
there, right?
two Tonys, yeah. That could be the next show. My two.
And
Tonys.
there's another shot of I think that's you playing board games. That is a great shot. That I think
Oh
is
my
from.
gosh. That was one of the first feature shows we did. Yeah,
Look at that.
that was the first one when we started out as Jump in the Lake. But we did. Oh my gosh, we did. God, laser tag on
Yeah.
Blast Cam.
Yeah, I remember the blast camp too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
skiing. We went to a brewery, and I drank way too much beer. I am not a beer drinker. It was spectacular.
Well, and again, you are such a known media personality, and it's kind of a small goldfish bowl here in Northwest Indiana, and we should give a shout out. You and I reconnected. I mean, we knew each other from before, but we reconnected through. He's kind of the godfather that makes everything happen with connections. Charlie Blum, right?
Yeah, so I worked with Charlie Blum at the Star Plaza Theater on different productions. We did some PBS specials. We did a few other things. And in fact, I started out at Lakeshore co-hosting like the auctions. We do the
Oh yeah.
auctions with Charlie Blum. And so interesting, Charlie Blum is actually down here in Southwest Florida, and he's on the board of this theater. So he and I are very close. We're still connected. So when he had mentioned that this would be a perfect venue, I was like, yeah, sign me up. We'll do it.
Well, and I was looking at my old columns, and I thought, when's the last time I wrote something that had your name in bold? And there you were with Jesus Christ Superstar,
Oh my
Star
God.
Plaza, Charlie Blum, right?
Yeah, that makes all the sense. We had Mark Summers come in to
Yeah.
play in that show. We had some great talent there. Yeah, we did all kinds of wonderful productions over at the Star, and God, I miss that.
Yeah.
I can still hang out with Charlie. I can't hang out at the Star.
Oh, we miss
Wow.
it too. It's just a void.
Well, I got to ask too, Kristen, you have this long history of theater and newscast and being a media personality here, but for this show, the Swing Set, I guess I don't know. Was there inspiration? I don't know if it's too close to your personal life or whatnot. I don't want to get. I don't want to get into it. But what was the striking
It's a
point for
good
that?
question.
I mean,
Okay,
what?
well,
what
actually, there's a hangout down here, on the island, which is it's a coffee shop. It's just a coffee shop. And we have a lot of friends there. And somebody came in, and I don't even know how the topic of conversation came up. But I write all the time, and I was listening to the stories, and I was like, you know what? I think that's a great basis for a play. Like, what if some people kind of bumped into the lifestyle but didn't really have a good understanding of what was going on? And that's what kind of morphed into the Swing Set. And since that time, obviously, I've talked to a lot of people who are a lot more familiar with it. I've done a lot of other kind of research, and the show itself, while it talks about things that are very titillating, something that maybe anybody would like to see. It's also really interesting and a little bit of a learning experience. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
And there are this thing that we talk about is not just like a Southwest Florida thing or a Marco Island thing.
Sure.
It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
Absolutely. This might be the most tawdry show topic that this show has ever covered. But
Are we still on the air?
Well, I was
No,
going to
I'm
imagine.
so naughty. I'm
But-
really not.
But you're exactly right. I come, as everyone know, from cornfields and rural surroundings, and for decades and decades and decades, that was what was always talked about. Even with and there's not anything that I was necessarily my family was familiar with, but with farmers and things and parties, and they would say something about at the evening you put your keys in some kind of a bowl, and that's kind of the way that you
Yeah,
can get to know a new
that's-
friend, kind of a thing, I
That's a
guess.
whole other thing, but
Yeah.
tangential. I mean, it's definitely
Yeah.
related. So I know we're kind of talking around it because I don't want to give it all.
Yeah.
away, but, you get the gist.
And it's a clever title too. That is a wonderful show title.
Thanks. I'm terrible with titles. When I write something, I'll put a working title on it. Sometimes but for some reason, that's just like, oh God, it's just the worst. I wrote a musical for kids, a few years back, and I finally just kind of gave up because I was like, I know kind of what it is. And a friend of mine, Matt Lucas, actually, who's probably familiar with you, was like, oh, hey, how about this? 'cause he was helping out with the graphics, and he was brilliant. I have a real hard time with titles, but I have to say I'm pretty happy about the Swing Set. It's just enough.
Yes.
Keeps you guessing a little bit there.
Well, and again, we're pushing it about this weekend for Labor Day weekend. Charlie gave me a nudge and a scoop and said, "Hey, it's going to go on for another weekend in a different venue. Is that correct? New space."
Yeah, so we're here at the Marco Center for the Arts Center Theater for 2 days, and then we're going to be in Fort Myers at Fort Myers Theater on the 4th and the 6th. So, some Southwest Florida plays. And then, like I said, this is something we intend to license, so it's going to be out there and anybody can do it. Right now, I'm doing it and Fred's doing it, and I I'm not on stage as often as I used to be. I'm really enjoying it. I really like it, but I think it'll be interesting to see it with other actors and see what they bring to it because, how it is when you have somebody take on a role, they're going to personalize it a little bit.
Sure.
Rather than things that have surprised me. I've done things that surprised me, but I'd like to see what other people do with it. So.
But don't you think Tony would be fun to have
Yeah, no, for
up
sure.
here? And
yeah,
we're
yeah.
busy penciling in and putting everything for 2026.
We got to
So
spice it up a
we're
little
going to
bit.
talk with you off the air and follow up some more. And
Yes,
yeah, because it'll be great.
It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, it just sounds again just kind of a fun departure, and folks up here, we miss our theater at our space. We don't have the Star Plaza. Our theater center did a 5 play or musical run that has not come back ever since the pandemic. It's been more kind of like an abridged version of Star Plaza with tribute shows but we do 1 week runs of things, and this sounds like it would be so perfect, and again having you back here would be absolutely great as well. Just and not to put you on the spot here, but I'm sure all of us are sharing the same lament. I'm guessing it's down there as it is up here with our PBSs that are just trying to find a new avenue, a new path. Are you finding the same thing down in Florida in that area from your what you're hearing?
Yeah, it's everywhere. The pressures are coming not just from the federal government, but from the state. And as is per usual with any kind of PBS properties, it's really very, very important that donors, that people who appreciate public broadcasting step up. And if they haven't done it before, now is really a time to make your voice be heard and do that via donor dollars, because that's really the most successful way to keep those things going. I would be sad if the kids couldn't watch Sesame Street or, what some of the other things that are on PBS right now. And gosh, all the wonderful programming. I'd hate to see that go by the wayside. So it's really important for us as individuals to promote that and get behind that.
Well, even like Lakeshore, I mean, we get the Chicago telecast here, but what's happening in the region? That's why it was so important. You would go out around town, show people what's going on, have the news for region-specific news items, and we don't have that really. I mean, we got WGLB, but nothing like Lakeshore.
And our population needs that. We are in the shadow of Chicago, but we are a large enough entity to have our own coverage. So
yeah, I mean, we're Northwest Indiana, the whole region area is unique. Yeah, you're right. Chicago centric. I mean, growing up, like, oh yeah, Chicago was my town. That being said, I identify the region. In fact, I still do some work in the region with kids theater because I think it's important to give back to the community there. But Northwest Indiana has a very particular voice, a very particular flavor. We have our own experience, and it's kind of sad that we won't get to highlight it quite as much. Other voices are being silenced a little bit. That's not great for anybody, I don't think.
I'm hoping for, again, a turn around the corner here, and there's going to be something that's the pendulum always goes both ways, and we're going to keep fighting the fight. As we close here, one of the things that, first we're going to re-hit those dates, so get that ready for us on that website. But one of the things I lament as well, and I wish it was still down there, is this was a real thing, the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater in Jupiter, Florida. You could have taken your show right over there, and that was often a punchline on the Golden Girls. They'd be going out for the night, and the Dorothy character would say, "Ma, we're going to be late. Ruth Buzzy is starring in Evita at the Burt Reynolds Theater," or Jamie Farr is starring in, A Streetcar Named Desire.
I will say that that's a really interesting thing about the theater scene down here is that we get a lot of Broadway performers who come down here, when they're not on stage, or some people are retiring down here, they're doing other things. So we have some really high caliber talent in the area, which means we get to have some really high caliber shows, and that's quite a gift, actually.
Absolutely. Give us the recap again for Labor Day weekend and the website.
Okay, so we're going to be at the Arts Center Theater. Go to the Marco Island Center for the Arts. We'll be there on the 28th and 29th, and then we'll be at the Fort Myers Theater, and you can just look up Fort Myers Theater, and we'll be there on the 4th and 6th of September, and we're really excited about both those opportunities.
And I should mention, for those of you that are streaming and are able to share video, the poster that I picked is a poster that showed that the world premiere happened about a year ago, same time around September. So don't get confused on that bottom of that poster. I should have picked the more current poster, but and it did well a year ago, and that's what's got you right back there revisiting and then taking it on to Fort Myers. And we're so proud of you, and again, so pleased to welcome you back
Yeah.
up here to this region as well as soon as we can make it happen.
So nice to see some familiar faces.
Yeah, it was great. It's been over a decade since I've seen you, so this was nice.
Really long time.
And I'll never look at a pineapple the same way again.
I get that comment.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you with Break a Leg this weekend over your Labor Day. Krista, we'll be talking with you soon off the air, too,
Thank you
okay?
so much.
Thank you.
See ya.
And our best to all of you, our radio listeners and our viewers, for tuning in to this edition of Notoriety. Your host, Philip Tempet, joined by Tony Panic.
Happy to be here. Another episode in the books.
And again, when you're catching this, we're going to wish you a safe Labor Day weekend, and we'll look
Yes.
back to seeing you next week. And if this is our next week, and if this is a rebroadcast, we hope that you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or wherever your path may take you.